States. You will never live in scarcity. We're going to figure it out. And how do we live abundantly with what we have? And so we became very intelligent around how do we make it. So as a Cuban community, we would share our brown rice. We would buy 50 pounds of brown rice, and we would buy these 20 pounds of black beans, and we would share as a community. Even in Indianapolis, there were about 20 families that were Cuban, and we're like, okay, let's get together. What can we share? You know, I had my clothes. We couldn't afford things, so my mom would buy scraps at Joanne Fabrics or wherever, and then she'd have a seamstress make it for us, and then she would barter because she was a beautician. So we would trade for goods and services.
Well, that's
And
another thing that's missing in modern life is community. And it's the
absolutely,
most important thing from the
yes,
cell to the species.
100%. And so that's what they taught me. And so one of my within the Global Sustainable Health Institute, I want to institute restorative villages, because knowing that my parents didn't have the languaging and they didn't have the resources, I want to go into those food deserts and show them, because you can't eradicate poverty or help mental health if you're giving the body the wrong signal with these food stamps and these meals in the schools that are poison. We're making a society of unteachable children by food alone,
Wow.
especially in these food deserts. So let's create these restorative villages and do exactly what I've shared with you, and come together as a community and buy in an entire either bison or regeneratively raised cow, where you actually use the bones, make broth, and then you mill the bones and you're making collagen, and you take the tallow and you use the entire animal in a way that it becomes so affordable.
Yeah. My my sister and some people do that in New Jersey. They go in on a cow or something like that. But so I guess this brings a good question. What gives you hope in the midst of this current health crisis and chronic illness epidemic?
Well, we're seeing a sea change. I think people are fed up and the jig is up,
Yeah.
right? Well, the Maha report just came out saying we have the sickest and most medicated children in the world, in the developed world. And I believe my whole ethos, I got into this because of my children. My legacy project is that longevity starts in the womb, and it starts preconception, and it starts with intention. It starts with eating away from the genetic vulnerabilities that parents have. And then we nurture that seed to become a superhero for our planet. And so I do believe that now we're starting to turn a tide of the bad food, and that's just level one, because even the good food can even initiate a trauma response in a child that is oxalate rich, because he's had mold and a lot of ear infections. So he's eating strawberry and almond milkshake, and that's just feeding that oxalate burden, which is dysregulating his neurotransmitters. So that's really the next level, is the granularity of us, but it can be done. And so I'm putting my footprint for the sustainability of our planet with longevity starting in the womb. But it's never too late. But if we
I,
started there, we're going to build a generation of these new children, even in a pandemic environment, which makes them more vulnerable. But the body is highly intelligent, and I've seen it over and over again in my practice, Tim. These sick bodies that were told you will never be this, turn around and
oh
really do
yeah.
beautiful things.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it in Dr. Joe Dispenza's work as well. And
Yeah.
I've never heard actually somebody say that health begins. I mean, I'm sure people have said it, but I've never really, or maybe it never registered, health begins in the womb. And I mean, we would be going down a whole other side road that we don't have time for, but the majority of our mitochondria is passed on from our mothers. And
Right.
that obviously all begins in the womb. Um, so, what would be one message you would wish to tell everyone on the planet right now?
Um, we are more powerful than we know. Remember to interrupt a signal that has been passed down generationally or through the pandemic that you're not safe. Know that we have to be really compassionate with our life experience and go back to those versions of ourselves and give them grace, give them compassion, and give them a path forward, saying, look, I have you, come with me. Come with me. And then ask our future selves to show up and say, what don't I know yet? And can I get a glimpse into the future version of myself if I commit to be that sustainable cell for planetary health? And then that gives us our power, and a person in our power, when we're truly in our power, we raise everyone around us because we're not in scarcity, we're not in the grab of power, we're not in how do I compare myself to the other individual on this social strata. It doesn't matter because we're filled with light, and that is the power of the mitochondria. And then the microtubules in our brains really become that clear quantum computer to source in the morphic field, which has all the intelligence waiting to be picked, that fruit of wisdom of the future of what how it is to really be a sustainable planet. It's there, but we have to be a clear vessel.
Yeah, I mean, we have to tone down that static because there is so much static. And my new book, Dream Tethering, is about connecting with that future self. It's kind of what the journey I've been on my whole life, despite the fact, been consumed by fear and doubt and all that stuff. But I felt like it was a vision that was kind of given to me at a young age. And I've tried to get off this writing train multiple times, but life's just like, are you kidding me? Get your ass back on there. Um, so how about this one? What would you tell your 17-year-old self?
Wow. You know, I I really am proud of you for being that butterfly and continuing to be the butterfly and not create yourselves stovepipes to be in a specific thing, because that's the cool thing, that I've really stayed true to pollinating all sorts of ecosystems through, I believe, really heart-centered kindness.
Mm,
I've strived to live that my life that way.
yeah. So I will just reiterate some of the things you are embodying: the quality of the questions you ask, your curiosity, your passion, and the relentless pursuit of the truth. If the listeners take away one thing from this, embody that, and it's going to find you in very new domains and terrains of life. So, um, man, I barely even touched the surface of things I wanted to ask you, but maybe we'll have to do this again. I love that, you're connecting with people that I'm sort of working with and connecting with, and there is the information grid.
Yes.
So where can people find you, learn more about you?
Of course. So the Wildatarian Diet, Living as Nature Intended, is on Amazon. TeriCochrane.com is one of my websites. That's my clinical website, the Global Sustainable Health Institute. I'm on social media platforms, Instagram, LinkedIn, if you want to know about speaking engagements, or if you want to have a clinical with us. If you want just an epigenetic analysis, because my waiting list is quite long, we have a team that will really do an amazing job for you and help you figure out what foods are right for you, which ones are not, what supplements to stay away from, and other aspects of like uh-ohs. So there's many ways to tap into our Cochrane Method and all that comes from it, line of supplements that's epigenetically oriented. There's a lot of really beautiful data out there that I believe I've just been a vessel for, and continue to be grateful for having the antenna in the ears.
Yeah, I agree. And I can't wait to get your book. So, um, thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom and your courageous, fearless pursuit of the truth. And on behalf of all the people that you've helped and will help. So, yeah. Thank you, folks, for listening. Please, if you like this, please like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. I hate even saying that, but it's a necessary part of the algorithm these days. You can find me at therealtimshields.com, and that's my Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all that stuff. Until we meet again, thank you so much, Teri. I loved our conversation.
Likewise.